Hello, welcome to the weekend of Punters Guide. A little bit after the Lord Mayor's show. We're all a big come down from Cheltenham. A couple of long faces here looking absolutely shattered still. But the show must go on. There's still winners to be had. And a 3-1 winner at Newbury or Kelso this weekend pays exactly the same as a 3-1 winner at the Festival Entries just around the corner. Right, Newbury and Kelso boys to look forward to. Frankie, I know you're saying it's been a bit of a nothing week. It's a weird one, isn't it, after the festival?
It is. Yeah, it's much different having a look at these class 2 and 3 handicaps, and there's a few horses that have won nothing races before coming into them. It's a tricky weekend to be too solid on anything. But having said that, there's a lot of 6-1 sort of prices that I'm hoping will run into a place and might go and win. So it's not actually a bad weekend to have a few small bets on a couple of each way bets in the handicaps. But yeah, it's it's a different sort of preview than when you're looking at grade ones and getting excited for Cheltenham, that's for sure.
We spent the whole year building Cheltenham, but Joel and I, we got a bit of a fix in midweek, didn't we?
Oh yeah, Haydock. It was brilliant on Wednesday. I love those weekday events at Haydock. Lovely people, great, really good crowd as well. I mean, racing wasn't great, but we picked some winners. Yeah. And everyone had a great day. So I really enjoyed it. Frankie must have had a shock in Cheltenham because I thought we'd get back the first week after Cheltenham and you have a Banksy on the wall or whatever it is. You know, there's not even an IKEA print on that wall. It looks like he's about to be interrogated on Law and Order or something.
Well, you say that. Last night I did an entire living room shop. It's a good job I'm not filming this in my living room. It looks like I'm squatting. There's nothing in there. But that order did go in yesterday. I bought an entire living room yesterday. So one room at a time, we're getting there.
Right, Newbury, let's crack on. 1:30. Novice handicap. It's a good one, though. Blow your wad last seen out in the Tolworth. Toothless for Paul Nichols. Inniston, good second at Sandown. Decent race to kick us off, Joel.
Yeah, I got two in this. I saw Toothless on debut for Nichols. And it was backed off the boards. I think it was like 3-1 to 5-4 that day. And Bryony won by just the 35 lengths. I don't think she's ridden it since. The French form wasn't anything, to be fair. 5th out of 8, 6th out of 9, fell. But somebody must have seen something in it, and the money was down on the first day. Tailed off at Musselburgh in the run after this one, but it did scope dirty. What an officer heard like Wincanton, the Racing Post comment said just did enough. But if you watch it, it's got a ton in hand. So that's one for me. But because we're past Cheltenham, I'm having two in this. And Frankie texted about this one earlier on, and I watched it back. Atlanta Brave for Kerry Lee and our mate, our Pats, Richard Patrick, 20-1 into 8-1. I think that Hereford win, the form of the second, is pretty decent. Is it Hiroti Golf or something like that?
Yeah,
it was second. There were 15 lengths clear of a decent Sam Thomas horse, Spring Meadow. And that second has come out and finished second the last couple of times. Look, Kerry Lee's on a 50% strike rate. It's only 3 from 6, but 3 winners out of 6 is decent. I think it's got a rating of 125, and it'll step up for this. And I think Frankie's probably best to talk about this because Richard Patrick tried his best to make it look like it was all out.
Yeah, I think I know what Drankers go for because he was the one who did message us, didn't he, on the app a little earlier. Atlanta Brave, Frankie.
Yep. Joel said enough, really. How many of these in here have won last time out and they're coming into this, off the back of winning or placing in a couple of races, and you're basically trying to find the one that you think is going to step up and progress the most. And Atlanta Breeze off those last 2 wins, even the second, actually, if you go back to the third one, probably should have or could have maybe gone on to win that race. You put those 3 performances together, I think there's more to come from Atlanta Brave. But it is the other that Joel mentioned would probably be second on my shortlist as well. That £5 could be very valuable. There's a lot of these carrying 11, 10, and you take that 5 off, and suddenly Toothless is kind of bang in the middle of the weights against the field. So they'd probably be the pair for me as well. But yeah, Atlanta Brave would be the main selection.
Forecast!
It's on the forecast. Right, if you want to 205 then over fences, 2.5 miles here. Again, solid Saturday horses. Bezada Zobo, former grade 1 winner. Super 6, Joel, I'm going to start with you because I know you fancied him last time at Haydock. Are you sticking with him or are you deserting him?
If you watch this show on a regular basis, you know I'm very loyal. But then once you're off the list, you are off the list. Now I'm running out of jockeys with suspensions and whatever. Rex Dingle's out of the list, by the way. He's on the list for 2 rides this week, so I'm never backing him again. So I'm down to like 3 jockeys that are suspended or whatever. Super 6 for Sam and Nige. Best bet of the weekend was a few weeks ago. I think it landed 9-2, 15 length winner. Jordan Naylor was on board that day. And I think he's got, is it £9 he's gone up? Am I working my figures out here? Is that right? About £9?
Yeah.
I think you've tried to make all. That would be, a bet for me. And I back them until they let me down. And I think big bite for me as well. Won at Newbury by a head earlier this month. Up £4 for that. Just trying to show a little bit of form once again. And I think that might be the forecast. Super 6, 2 beats and big bite. That's mine.
Going to blow himself out of the water after poor Cheltenham. Forecast double. Maybe Frankie, it's a good race, this.
It is, yeah. Similar form line, but different horse. Honor d'Argent beat Super 6. If you go back the start before for Super 6, so he was very impressive when winning at Haydock when Joel put him up last time out. But if you go one run before at Hereford, Honor d'Argent beat him that day when giving away, I think, £6 or so. He's better off anyway in the weights because Honor d'Argent hasn't gone and raced since. So you can see it one or two ways. You could say that Super 6 has gone on and progressed since then and is turning into a better horse and might reverse that form with Honor d'Argent, or you could take the opinion of the handicapper actually had them right on the day. And Super 6 has gone on to win and boost the form of that Honor d'Argent winning race the time before. That's the kind of opinion I'm leaning towards. So if Honor d'Argent comes out and is as good as Super 6 has been last time out, and is better off in the weights against Super 6, and I think it deserves his shot.
And do you know what? I agree with that, but this is why I put it up as the best bet last time out, was because if you watch that race, did really well Super 6 to finish 3rd, but it hung like a gate. I mean,
Yeah.
Sam's one of the strongest jockeys, and he was trying. It just didn't want to know. It did not want to know.
He hit the front a bit. He hit the front a bit earlier, didn't he? Than when he went on. Well, ended up winning by 15 odd lengths the next time, but he looked like when he hit the front, he wasn't being the most straightforward.
He wasn't being, and Jordan Naylor won by 15 lengths. So I think they've gone, right, Jordan, you've won on it. You're off. Sam, you're back on. Make amends.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, it depends what opinion you take, whether it was a rapid improvement or an improvement from Super 6, or whether it's just a case of that previous race was actually a decent race and all of those horses in the top 3 might come out and do something good next time out. Super 6 has already done that. Honor d'Argent gets his shot this time round.
Right, so we on to the feature today. Start with you this time, Frankie. The 240. It's a grade 2. It's a novice handicap, but it's probably not the strongest renewal. Top weight off 119. We're 7-1 on the field at the time of recording. What have we got? 18 runners heading to post. Is this a pin job?
It's a bizarre race, this. Again, there's loads that have won easy enough last time out. There's not loads of clues. I'm actually going for one at the top of the market, but near the bottom of the weights, I think, isn't she? Ruby Island. For Joel's mate, Mark Walford.
He's on the list. I drove 200 miles there and back to go and see him, to be told, hey, into overdrive, mate. It'll win at Cheltenham, no problem. It's just coming to the 3rd last now.
Didn't go to plan, did it? Hopefully this one can. God, if you'd have backed Ruby Island last time out at Air, you would be scratching your head because she looked like she was going to go and win the race about 5 different times and didn't manage to. I think she's the horse with the ability in the race. You know, she's got a 4th in that bumper that Queen's Gamble won. She's won a couple of races since. Like I said, she should have really won the last race. She just was all over the gap and wasn't taking the last 2 hurdles very well. But when asked, she does pick up with some speed. So I think, don't know how he's going to ride it differently or how it's going to pan out. But I do think that if she puts it all together, there is some raw talent there. She just was a bit quirky the last day and got all over the shop really in the race finish. So she just needs to be a bit more straightforward, and I think she can go and win a race like this.
Ruby Island then for Joel, for Frankie. Joel, which one are you with? Bearing in mind that this time of year, these mares could be quite tricky.
Yeah, I mean, I reckon we're all going to agree on this. Who's been the best jockey riding on National Hunt this season? Who would you say?
Harry Cobden.
Yeah. Do you not see the eye-catching booking here for Anthony Honeyball?
Yeah, I had a look. I had a look for that reason, and I couldn't talk myself into it.
No, that's the only reason. that was the only reason. I was like, here we go. I was like, no. So that was the one for me. Do you know what? I'd take a little go on the. Do you remember we put up Wishing and Hoping? That big 50-1 shot in a race that I'd probably just watch. You know, I wouldn't have a massive interest in. Blue Bench for Mel Rowley and Alex Edwards was smashed off the boards last time from odds against him to 4-9 from Meydan at Huntington. Look, I think it'll be handy. Probably try and make all, and I think it's one of those ones where you just back it to win or to be tailed off. In a race that I wouldn't really have much of an opinion about, I've got your eye-catching jockey booking and one in one of the worst maiden hurdles you ever see from last time. So I just have a little go on the Mel Rowley horse for a bit of fun.
There are 3 decent wide open handicaps at Newbury, and more of the same really up at Kelso. We'll start with their 150. It's the second day of the Go North series. It's the finals of these 150, named after some great stalwarts in the north. 2.5 mile handicap hurdle. Again, just a real tricky handicap, Frankie.
It is, yeah. One thing I always look for at Kelso's course form, just that testing uphill finish. And maybe because you do get local trainers that like to target the course, but I seem to see a lot of horses go back and win at Kelso that have done so before. Salvino got the tick with winning at Kelso when last seen there. Was second in a couple of decent enough handicaps off a similar mark. And then really the run last time out, probably the one that gets me most interested, although 11 lengths 7th on paper, you watch it back, was badly hampered. Was never going to go and win the race by any means, but it was a much better race than what he's got on his plate today. His mark's unchanged, so I think he's actually down a pound because of that 7th. And yeah, like I said, on paper, it's a different story to what actually happened in the race. So Salvino, with a couple of good runs off a similar mark, course form, and unlucky last time out, gets my vote.
Yeah, Sandy Thompson, Ryan Manny, the great form last time. The ITV cameras were at Kelso, Joel.
I can't say any more. He has said everything that I have said. Salvino, the only thing added to it was the 33% strike rate of Sandy Thompson and the jock staying on when hampered last time. Would have probably finished third. 10-1. I think that's probably one of the best each way bets of the weekend.
There we are then. Agreed. Nicely done. Right, 225. They team up again. Those pair with Flower of Scotland. Back over hurdles. 3.25 mile handicap per hurdle. You mentioned with a stiff finish. This might take some getting, Joel.
Yeah, I think it will do. I mean, Pim's in this race. They used to be with it. That was going to be a good horse one day, wasn't it? With Nicky Henderson.
Yeah, in the Pew colours, wasn't it? Ulti also.
Yeah. Onto Ollie Greenall and first run for Big Nige. Couldn't fancy that. Theme tune when last 2 starts, but no. You were saying, I think you got it now on the head. I think it was about the it'll take some getting this. Spike Jones came down on here. It's been ridden by Danny Burton, claiming the 5, the conditional last couple of seasons. Sean Bowen takes over here, won by 7 lengths last Saturday at Fontwell. So I just presume they think it's probably got a bit in hand. There has been a little bit of money for it. I think it's 4-1, probably might go off joint favourite to be fair. 7-2, 4-1, 4-1. And that was one I came down on. The strongest horse that I could find in this race was Spike Jones for me. Everything else has got too many ifs and buts.
He was under pressure a long way out of form, but just kept finding. Then probably the best it went was towards the end of the race.
Yeah, that was
Stamina
right.
test will certainly suit. Frankie.
Yeah, you mentioned Pim. It's like, God, I'm in the same boat. Couldn't back him, but Jesus, a mark of 127. This horse was in like the mid 140s, I think, at one point, and was last seen off a 135. But yeah, who knows? Could be anything. Innis Oyer, however you say that. Lucinda Russell's my selection. Joel's favourite phrase, put a line through the last run. And look at the run before when beating Outlaw Peter. That horse is rated in the mid 130s, held in decent enough regard for the Nichols team. And to be honest, I mean, last at Haydock last time out, but that was a much stronger race than this. All of those horses were kind of 140 horses. So maybe just a race too good for him and, you know, back down to a more suitable level. You look at the previous form, it's good enough for me. It seems to stay 3 miles, so shouldn't really be a problem. I don't think this 3 mile too. Yeah, again, a solid each way bet. Like there's nothing to get too excited about, but they're all fair prices to have them each way better.
It certainly are. Right, let's go to the 3 o'clock because we've already got one decent £50,000 mares novice handicap hurdle down at Newbury over 2.5 miles. So what better thing to do than put another one on, but for 2 miles up at Kelso for 50 grand. Again, it's a tough one. I thought it's interesting. John Joe O'Neill has just sent the one up there with John Boardwalk of No Shame, but we've got Bont in here, who's a good bumper horse of Fergal O'Brien. That'll probably take out a big chunk of the market, Joel.
Yeah, I think it's time recording 3 to 1, 5 to 2, something like that. I think this is. I'm still making my mind up. If we're not going to Meydan, and you've got the Weaver Shark for that later. Bonte might be the best bet of the weekend. It was 1 in 4 bumper races, only beaten by 1 horse, which was
Queen's Gamble.
Yeah, that'd be one for me. Never been
I'm
out
beating last time out, but
yeah, all right, yeah. Never been. Never been out the first 2 in the last 7 races.
No, I agree. I fancy you as well.
Do you know what puts me off? And this is really bad. Is the price. 5 to 2, 3 to 1. If I price this up myself, I'd be looking a lot short than that. People say, the bigger the price, the bigger the certainty. But I'm looking at that going, to me, on paper, this looks like really strong, that material, but the price is huge.
Don't be put off by the price. There's more cash in your pocket if it goes in. You agree, Frankie? You're a Bonte fan?
I do, yeah. Yeah, as Joel said, decent back form in bumpers, which you kind of want. And then same sort of story as the other mare, River, I can't remember her name now, we mentioned down at Newbury.
Story of your life.
Another mare I've forgotten. She hasn't looked the most straightforward. That's probably another story for another day as well. When she won last time out, when she hit the front, she just idled a little bit. And again, when actually asked to quicken, you can see that there's some talent there. And then I don't know whether it was tactically or just how the race unfolded last time out, but the Ollie Murphy horse managed to nick a few lengths and maybe was better than anyone expected. So Bonte was never going to catch the winner. But again, when she was asked to quicken, she did go past the eventual 3rd and 4th with ease and pulled 6 clear of them. So it's the same sort of story. She looks to have the talent really of the bunch. If she puts it all together, I think, yeah, I agree, quite a strong bet.
So have another Brandy Love moment then. Right, let's move on to the first race over fences at Kelso. It's a 3.25 mile handicap. And interestingly, I think Ryan Manning was looking forward to riding Hill 16 in the Grand National, but he's not on him this weekend. He's going to ride a stablemate Doyen Breed in here as well. It was a useful novice, second in the Reynolds-Town. But again, another real tricky handicap to try and solve, Frankie.
It is. You mentioned Hill 16. I'm just getting the numbers up now. The last twice at Kelso, it's finished 3rd and 2nd, and the 3 horses in front, Sounds Russian rated 161, I Right rated 153, and that's Well rated 149. I know they were going up against each other in handicap, so obviously was getting weight from those better horses, but not bucket loads and wasn't miles away. And I think has been running well in better races than this. So Hill 16, I think, definitely deserves a shout. And then the other probably is Half Shot, who was a whisker away from winning here last time out over 2 mile 5, I think it was. Hasn't got any form over further than 2.6 or 2.7 maybe over hurdles, but has 6 point-to-point starts over 3 miles. So should get the trip. Has performed well at Kelso and maybe coming back for a bit of revenge over further after being unlucky last time out. They were miles clear of 3rd, that pair. So 2 for the shortlist. The bigger price probably gets the vote, Hill 16.
There you go. Yeah, lucky to back Bill Baxter last time, right? He didn't half scare me half shot. Time before that, behind not long till May, of course. And that's gone on to much better things subsequently. Right, Joel, give us the winner of the 2-3-35.
The 2-3-35. I'm getting my money back on this one. Now, bearing in mind, it was a flyer and I got stupid enhanced prices at 100-1 for Elvis Mail in the Coral Cup. And I didn't half get a run for money, unseated at the first. I saw Bruce Lynn at Haydock, which he's pretty mustard around Haydock, to be honest. And he said a little while ago, he went, it'll be a stupid price. Have your $5 on each way. So, yeah. So have your $5 on each way. And he fell off at first. It's probably going to be a 16-1 and drifting, if you like. But yeah, he's on the list to get the money back for this one. So obviously, I think a little bit about him. Now, John McConnell's got the one in here.
Looks a bit of a targeted one, doesn't it?
Yeah. The one for me, the distance is probably a little bit short for me after 4 miles in the Scottish National. And I looked back this afternoon at that decent race at Punchestown when he was fourth. It's cross-country race. He was badly hampered at the second. He was running on well, but I can't get John McConnell right. I mean, we've sat here before and we've rubbed our hands when you see the money come in. I can't get him right. So I'm going to leave him alone this weekend. And you know what? Get me money back on Elvis Mail at a stupidly big price. Probably go off like 25 or something like that. $5 each way for a bit of fun. To watch those lovely pink colours come round in about 9.
Yeah, if he stays on.
Yeah.
Right, stay with us because we're off to Meydan with Jason Weaver shortly to the card over Dubai. But we'll have bets of the weekend first of all, starting with Frankie.
We both mentioned Bonte, so I'll either leave that to Joel or that can be a freebie because we know that we like that. And the other I'll go will be Salvino each way. I just think it's a great each way bet. At a decent price, and like I said, would have finished much better than paper shows last time out, if not badly hampered.
Liking the pink silks, aren't we? Hill 16, Elvis Mail, Salvino, Bonte.
The pink TriCast could be on.
Yeah.
Another story.
Well, the same race, but
I absolutely 100% sounding like Lydia Hislop. I absolutely 100% agree. Bonte, the best bet of the weekend for me over the sticks, and Salvino, best each way bet. And if you're going to Meydan with Weaver in a minute, before he starts talking about the Japanese horses, back the Japanese horses.
Yeah, they are strong, dominating the world at present. Right, thanks to the boys. I'll be back with them shortly, of course, looking into the jumps. It's the season, still 4 or 5 weeks still to go. Of course, the Scottish Grand National, the Irish Grand National, the Whitbread, and of course, Aintree away from them for that. But let's go and join Jason Weaver then for all the action over in Dubai. And here he is, my Meydan main man, Jason Weaver. Looking forward to the action over in Dubai. Lots of British interest. We'll start with the 1240, the Dubai Gold Cup for the stayers.
Yeah, and also, I suppose we're going to touch on, will this be the last time that the Dubai Carnival, the Dubai Festival, the World Cup night, is this the last time we're going to see a Frankie Dettori in action as well at this particular venue? He's had some wonderful times down the years riding for a whole host of different trainers, obviously for the boys in blue and Sheikh Mohammed. And a little bit later on, he does have a great opportunity with Country Grammar in the biggie. So it could be a good night for Dettori followers along the way. Great staying contest. I mean, Subjectivist has been a superstar, hasn't he? But he really disappointed badly. Ran no race over in Saudi the other day. And you have horses in here, the likes of Siskany. It was off the back of a break. Really good run from him. Quick Thorn, he goes over. We're starting to get those better horses coming back in again. Why on earth would Broome be up there around 16-1? Look, he's a rock solid Group 1 performer who for a little while now has been running as if he wanted to step up in trip. He's never gone 2 miles. It's a fascinating move that Aidan O'Brien decides to throw him in and step him up to 2 miles. We could well see him in that Cup division this year, and that could certainly shake it up. I know that we're always focused on a true Shan, and obviously we've had some superstars that have passed on a little bit. He's a fascinating contender. Aidan O'Brien, 16-1, about a multiple Group 1 winner, stepping up in trip. I think it's the wrong price.
Interesting. Nice shout then for Broom, Ryan Moore, Aidan O'Brien. From the stayers, we go to the sprinters, the Alquoz sprint over 6 furlongs again on the turf, and plenty again of European interest.
Yeah, there is. Fascinating when you think Alsu Hale has tried this trip on one occasion. He's more of a 7 furlong mile. They tried to get him to stretch out. Fascinating that he comes back for only his second try down at this distance. I think it'll all be over as he gets going. Everything in place for a big run for Flaming Rib. What a massive step up that would be for the Palmer Michael Owen combination if they were to get a big one on the board in the early stages. And all the way down, Al Sim down the bottom has improved no end for the switch across. He was Kevin Philippart de Foy. He's gone to George Bowie. The owner switched all the horses across. He's improved, but this is undoubtedly his biggest ask to date, isn't it? And I keep looking back at the times, and I know that you've got the differentials of track and trips that the horses had, but for all the world, he's going to have to run about a second quicker than he has done so far. So about 4.5, 5 and a bit lengths for him. And I think that Sight Success, who's a proven Group 1 performer for John Size over in Hong Kong, he's clocked some rocket times. Ryan's been picked up for the spin. He's been all over the world, hasn't he? Winning over in Australia, Dubai Honour. So I think that Sight Success may well fly a touch under the radar, given that Al Sim has got all those ones next to his name.
Cool, and that's the sprint, the Alquoz sprint. Let's look ahead to the Dubai turf at 3:10. John Gosden and Frankie Dettori teaming up. The old team with Lord North. The boys in blue got a strong hand, but we can't overlook these Japanese horses who've been dominating on the global scene.
Yeah, we know not a lot about Seraphus other than he's managed to win the Hanshin Mile Championship, and they're incredibly strong. That is the key, isn't it? If you go down them, I mean, Dan and Beluga at the top has got some very strong form. Joe Moreira on board. The likes of Alpha Reek, who's off the back of a win and had a few of these in behind last time, probably not good enough. Nation's Pride, the wins for him at Saratoga and at Aqueduct were very, very good. But has he been helped by the medication rules, if you like, over in America and just get him to run a bit better? Junko may well attract a little bit of support. I keep going round and round. Why on earth won't Lord North win this for a third time? He won it outright. He dead heated with Panther Lassa, who's going to go in the World Cup later on last season. He won easily the other day, didn't he, in the Winter Derby? Dettori on board. This could be his swan song victory, couldn't it, over at the big night?
Yeah, certainly could be Lord North. A regular dish, of course, over there. Right, the Dubai Shima Classic for the 1.5 miles. Obviously, the boys in blue again, Rebels Romance, Mostadaf. The Irish Derby winner, Westover, is back from Austin Tinsascott. Disappointment, but the Japanese have got a red-hot favourite again.
Yeah, they've got an absolute superstar in here. Who's actually beaten a few of these, the likes of Shayra, who was last year's winner, a very good winner last year. He's already been put in his place by Equinox. Fascinated to see how Westover gets on. I mean, we know how good he looked in the Irish Derby when he pounded the field. He was unlucky in the English Derby. Is he going to get over the way that he frets beforehand and he gets a bit worked up and a bit warm? Look, I know it's going to be towards later part of the day over in Dubai, but it's going to be still very hot and humid. How's he going to handle the prelims? Mostadaf, how good was he over in Saudi? Absolutely bolted in, and he's tried a variety of trips. I remember him in his younger years that the John Gosden team thought he was a real champion stakes horse. You know, that sort of class and quality about him. So I'm loath to underestimate him. However, you keep going round and round. Equinox, Japanese domination. We were warned about it, weren't we, by John Gosden many moons ago. He looks the shorty on the card.
Yeah, cornerstone of many multi there, maybe Equinox in the Shima Classic. Then the big one, £10 million a winning place prize money for the Dubai World Cup. You mentioned Country Grammar for Frankie Dettori and Bob Baffert, of course. Well, it's Algiers. I was at York. He won at 12-1. In a small field listed contest. He's been a revelation since switched to dirt. And of course, the Japanese have got a strong entry as well.
Yeah, they have. I think that Algiers and Country Grammar will be happy where they are in 13 and 14 because they're not going to be involved in that early skirmish. They can keep a touch out on the wing. We all know about the kickback, and you'll notice in some of the smaller fields, even a lot of the runners around Meydan will try and keep out a touch, and they're willing to give away ground provided they don't get back in that kickback. Look, Panther Lasser from stall 15, he's going to go forward. He's off the back of an amazing win in the Saudi Cup last time. And you go through the Algiers, I'd love to see it for Simon and Ed Crisford. They were the very first training father and son combination over here before we got the influx of everybody else jumping on board the bandwagon there. So, look, I wish them the best of luck. Why? Just because he's from an unfashionable stable or a trainer that we don't know about, why is Emblem Road as big as he is? He's 20 to 1. He's literally within touching distance behind Country Grammar last time, and he gave it away at the gate. He literally reared as the starting stalls open. He's a Saudi Cup winner. Look, we know very little about Adele, who's on board the jockey. He's managed to, I had a quick look back. He's managed to win some of the big Arabian races. He's also not a bad rider. So they haven't just thrown him on board. He won't be able to go too wide early. He's drawn down towards the inside in 2. Look, I think it could be big for Country Grammar. He's 7 to 2. Emblem Road, who's within hailing distance, provided he gets away on terms of him, he's upside him, is 20 to 1 because they don't know the jockey and they don't know the trainer. Far too big each way.
Like it. Nice big price. We've had some shocks as well, of course, in the Dubai World Cup down the year. So that's the action over in Sunsoak, Dubai. A bit close to home. You said you'd like to have a look at the Irish Lincolnshire. So I like this. 27 runners, big prices of the field. I know you'll pick one out for us. A couple of British entries as well. Adrian McGuinness saddles a third of the field. What's the pick?
Yeah, poor old Ado McGuinness. Of course, he lost a Case of You, who's now gone down to Australia. That was his real flag bearer, but he's got a whole host of decent runners. I saw Latam get weighed yesterday morning. He's just over 500 kilos, 502. And there's not a lot of him to look at. He's just so long and a big horse. That's the William Haggis runner. But keep a good close eye on his 2 runners that he has up for the Lincoln at Doncaster, which is just around the corner. But Latam will be a big player. I'm not sure that he's going to be, he'll be suited by the ground. I think he wants 1.25 miles, if I'm being honest. When I go through this, last year's 5th is Carry the One, Johnny Murtagh. Ran 5th in this last year behind Murtagh's other runner. Was rated 105. He's 102 this time. And there's a young 10-pound claimer on board who's the stable apprentice. So he gets 10 pounds off his back. He runs off 92 in here. I think he's massively overpriced. He's drawn with a lot of the fancy runners as well on the high part of the track. Carry the One in the Irish Lincoln could be the one for his young jockey to get his career going.
I certainly would do. What a way to start the career as well with the win in that big handicap. Brilliant. Lots to look forward to then over Dubai and close to home, of course, Jason. Look at Lincolnshire and the action in Meydan. Joel and Frankie with the jumps. Thanks to all of them. Fingers crossed you have a successful weekend. Jason will be back next week, the start of the flat turf season. Wherever you're back in this weekend, though, the very best of luck.